Backwoods Boys, back for the first time in 8 or 10 months.
Sorry for the long delay.
It's been a busy season. That's what we're doing right now. I'm not sure if we've ever explained. In the spring and fall, we take people for bear and deer hunting. So this time of year is really busy for us. We're running a bunch of sites with a bunch of hunters, and we have to keep checking trail cameras and throwing hay out and stuff. So that's what we've been up to. That's what we're up to today. We got, how many sites are you running today?
20 plus. The last little bit, the weather's not been cooperating, so the bucks have been moving pretty slow. So we're hoping we're seeing some good stuff on camera now. Some good movement now that the weather's behaving itself.
So we're gonna just load up a bunch of these. We're gonna run off to the one group of sites and check the trail cameras. Well, we just pull the cards and we'll check the cameras back at home and see what we've got for deer showing up. Hopefully they're moving again. Peak of the rut today, rattled in a nice little buck this morning and passed on him, let him grow up a little bit, but a lot of fun. So we'll see you at the next site.
So a bunch of you have asked on YouTube and on the Facebook page of what we've been up to and where the videos have been. And like we mentioned before, there's just been really busy through the summer months. The warmer months I do construction with a friend and neighbor of ours. Build houses. I built my own house last year with the skills I'd learned from him. So the construction led kind of straight into the hunting, the bear and then the deer. And we've been keeping an eye on these deer and bringing them in, feeding them, patterning them for the last 3 months or so. Beginning of August we started. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of busy long days. The way we hunt the deer when we have others coming up hunting with us, we do a little differently than ourselves, because we can spend the whole season out on our own land if and when we hunt, to keep an eye on things. We're limited to a week when others come up hunting with us, so we put out some baits and try to really get the deer figured out before they get up here, and then we have a week to try to make it happen for them. And we do things different than most outfitters. Most outfitters, they just sit their hunters in a stand and let them watch for deer, and we can do that too. It's the hunter's hunt. We want to make it their adventure, but we also try to give the option to rattle and call and walk around one-on-one with the guide and try to go after them that way, which is a lot of fun. I mean, rattling and calling doesn't always work, depends on the mood of the deer, but when it works, boy, does it ever work. And it's an adrenaline rush. It is fun. And we also switch things up a little bit from what a lot of outfitters do. We have a maximum 25 tags, so 25 hunters we could take up for deer in a year, but we don't fill those. My goal is to keep it about half, at 10 to 12 hunters per year, because we want to manage the animals. We want to grow big, old, mature deer. We want people to be excited when they're coming up, so they have that chance of those big trophies. And aside from the trophy hunting, it also just helps develop the population a lot better, to have those age class where they're doing the breeding, they're the head of the herd. So we just do our best to manage the population that's within our area the best we can, to produce the best results and to create a healthy population for us to hunt years and years down the road. We had a group up last week. Last week was our first group to start the year. There was a group of 3 guys, great guys, super fun to hunt with. They were awesome to have in camp. 2 of them ended up taking deer. One was a nice full frame 5x5. He had busted off a brow at some point, scrapping, but very nice framey deer. The other one that was taken was an old buck, old buck. We called him Shorty, and we'd seen him years ago. We didn't shoot him then. He was very distinguishable because he didn't have super long tines, but he was kind of a laid out kind of look, a little bit wider. And this year he showed up on camera with about a 5-inch drop off to one side, so that got hunters pretty excited. A couple of them had never shot a deer with a drop, so they were really wanting that deer. And he was probably at least 6, maybe 7, according to our records. So he was a good old deer and a good one to take out of the herd. So they went home really happy, and the guy that didn't take one, he's coming back next year. He had a great time, and he's after a trophy next year. He's excited with what he's seeing. We've got Dad along here. He's helping us bait, Mr. Father Winter. And Dale's back from the city for the weekend. He's been working a job at the university there with biology. He's been busy with that, but he managed to make it back for this weekend to give us a hand and do some hunting of his own. So it's good to have him back, good to have Dad along. We'll make good progress on these baits today.
Yeah, like Shane was saying, I've been stuck in the city for the last little bit here. Still getting out, doing as much hunting as I can. I did a week up at the cabin here a couple of weeks back looking for moose. Never found any moose, so I never videoed. I was going to video, but by the time I got up to the cabin, I just kind of didn't want to do anything except hunt and hang out in the bush. So sorry guys, you didn't get a video out of that, but it was a lot of fun. Spent the week up there. I got a big black wolf. That was exciting. And other than that, I've been coming back as much as I can, do a little deer hunting, a little moose maybe later in this year. Called in a decent little buck this morning, like I'd said, rattled and came out about 10 yards from me. No idea I was there. He just kind of threw on the brakes and stomped a couple of times and turned around, ran back. Gave him a couple minutes so I wouldn't be calling him in again, rattled again, and he comes tearing back in again, and I just passed because he was fun to watch and he's a good up-and-comer for a couple years from now. But like Shane was saying, I'm working at the university lately. I'm taking my master's degree in biology here starting in the spring, and that'll be focused on moose populations around home. I'm going to be hired to collar about 120 moose with GPS collars, and then I have to monitor them, and every time I get a mortality signal, which is the moose stops moving basically for more than a few hours at a time, then I'll hike in and figure out what killed it, and I'll be keeping track of diseases and predators, whether it's wolves or bears for calves or like cougars, things like that, hunters, and basically be keeping a checklist of what is driving the main mortality of the moose population, which is really good. I have a feeling it's going to be probably bears killing calves in the spring, and then hunters hunting along the fringe where there's the most access. So a hunting zone might have 50 moose tags given for the entire zone, but 50 people hunting them are hunting in the same 2-mile depth of the forest. So it can be tough on local populations, even though the zone itself has a population that can sustain that harvest. So that's my future here. I'm going to be coming up, doing some trapping in the meantime, and you'll hopefully be seeing quite a bit of Shane and I still this year. I'll come up on weekends lots and take some time off and get back up to the cabin as much as possible. But right now, I'm just enjoying being up here, doing a little hunting for myself and helping out with some baiting here. I get to run some of these baits. I ran things with Shane all of last year. It was a lot of fun, and so I kind of missed it this year, so it'll be good to get out, see what bucks are around. So far we've been seeing lots of deer running around even just outside of the house, so there should be lots of moving around now. We'll check in once we get to the bait, and hopefully there's some deer around to show you.
There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the man who moiled for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest that they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lake LaBarge where I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. Though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. Well, on Christmas Day we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close and the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. And it wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow. And the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe. Well, he turns to me and Cap says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. And he says with a sort of moan, it's a cursed cold and it's got right hold. Now I'm chilled right through to the bone. Yet tain't being dead, it's the awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fail, you'll cremate my last remains.
Here we have a typical active scrape and a licking branch. You can tell by the freshly dug up leaves and dirt. This is fresh as of yesterday. We had a light powder of snow overnight, so there's a little bit of crystallized snow in there. And typically there's a licking rancher out right about here. We know this is probably an average sized buck. You can always tell by the way they lift their head, rub their forehead on there because there's a scent gland. An extra large buck will have a slightly higher hanging branch. It's a fairly aggressive buck based on the size of the scrape. This is what we're looking for when we're hunting, and hunting for a good place for other hunters to come to. This is looking good. We used to have concerns about baiting. You know, is it fair? Is it good? Is it right? And I really understand everybody out there that has concerns like that. You know, fact is that winter is going to kill these deer. Every so often, winter wipes out a big part of the population. And this baiting, as long as we do it right, and as long as the outfitting's done right, you know, as long as we're hunting only the big old mature bucks and not just killing everything and everything young just because it looks nice, we actually end up with way more deer, a way healthier age structure. All the hunters around us end up with more deer, bigger deer, and we ride out that volatile fight with nature. Our deer go into winter fat and healthy. The bucks recuperate after the rut, go into spring healthier, and everybody benefits as long as this is done well and as long as we're careful in what we're taking out of the population. This can be a good thing.
This is actually one of my favorite cameras to use. It's a Cabela's brand. I'm not sure if they have a specific name for this type of camera that they've put out, but I really like it. It's easy to set up. It's just a three-way switch here, on, off in the middle of the setup. You have your menu and everything. You have your camera, your screen area that you can see what the camera is seeing, and you go through your menu on there. It's AA batteries instead of big D batteries, so they're just a bit easier to find, a little cheaper to run, last really well on a set of batteries. They have video day and night with sound, and really high quality video and pictures. you know, if you're running the video and the pictures because of the high quality, you want a little bit bigger SD card in there. We started with the 4 gig SD card and we're up to a 16, and that's doing us pretty good for the days that we go between checks. So, but great quality camera. I would suggest it if you're looking for a camera.
This one here is a good bait, one of our favorites. Last year, Hunter got a real nice, beautiful dark antler double drop off of here. Beautiful buck. And a few years before that, there was a 190, some drops and some stickers taken off. So it's produced pretty well. Definitely a family favorite. I was thinking what we do here, you know, so many people don't understand what we do, and they're critical. It's kind of like selective logging. If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, people don't want to see trees cut down. I love trees too. But if people could understand that if it's selectively logged, you take out the matures and you leave the forest healthier than when we started. You know, then people understand, right?
Yeah.
It's not the selective logging that they're against. It's the raping and pillaging of the forest, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what they think loggers do. It's kind of like that with outfitting. Right? As long as we're selectively hunting, you know, we take 1 deer out of 8 hunters or whatever, right? If people could understand that, I don't think they'd be against it. You know, and then they would see the benefit of this and that right there. You know, right? And these ones that are surviving, what they're against is the outfitting and the hunting that is raping and pillaging, right?
Yeah.
Instead of managing, right?
Yeah.
So we want to be really, really careful, guys, that we are always really respectfully managing this God-given thing we've been privileged to do, eh? Yeah. Always remember that. That's so cool. She's going into breeding healthy, and we'll probably have twins or triplets because of what we do. Hey, girl.
Well, that's all the sights we'll get done for today. We'll head back to the house and check the cards. Hopefully we got some bucks showing up. Hopefully they're back on schedule now that the weather is cleared up. Fingers crossed.
Figured it's worth noting here that it does look really easy getting a deer with those does in the background, but you got to remember with deer is that the bucks really aren't eating this time of year. So while the does and fawns are feeding heavily, they're coming in and eating on these baits. For the most part, the bucks only have one thing on their mind, and it's not eating. So they figure out where these baits are, where these does are regularly congregating to eat, and they, oh, there's some sharp-tailed grouse. They come through and they just kind of patrol. They patrol the forest, they patrol the baits, and they look for does that are coming into heat. And that's why that scrape line that we showed you a few minutes back was right on the edge of the bait, because they know that's where the does are. So people aren't shooting deer that are like wandering in while we're baiting. That's not how it's happening. It's they get to watch these does, and it's always lots of fun watching does and fawns come in. But it's the bucks that are patrolling, and often the bucks don't even come into the bait. They'll work the edge, kind of back in the trees, and you just have to be on guard watching for them. And they'll come in and sniff around, check out for does, and that's how they're hunted for the most part. So it's definitely more wild than this looks. Really what the bait is doing is keeping the does and fawns healthy and happy, and giving the bucks a chance when they do want to eat to come in and feed, so they don't go into winter after the rut with 0 body fat and just starving to death, which is how we lose mature bucks around here. So that's how these baits work for the most part.
I was thinking that, you know, we see these does and fawns when we're feeding, and I was thinking back, we almost never see an antler.
Nope.
When we're baiting.
Nope.
Almost never.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a buck. Even the buck that Shane said was coming, and that wasn't a buck, that was a doe, big doe. So yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a buck on a bait when we come in like that. So no, it's really just the does and the fawns, which is good because those are the ones that we want to keep fed and happy and healthy.
That's the factory.
Yep. Plus, the healthier a doe is when she's being bred, the more likely she is to conceive with multiple fawns. Yep. So if she's hungry going in when she's being bred, she likely will have 1 fawn. If she's well fed and happy and healthy, she's more likely to have twins and triplets, and those fawns are more likely to be healthy and happy themselves when they're born. Just sitting down here going through some pictures. Shane's got them up here. What side are we on right now?
This is B-yard.
B-yard, okay, so this is the
one on the north side of that road up there.
The second one that we ran in to check.
Yep.
Okay, cool. We got some good bucks showing up already.
Five by five.
And that was a 5x4.
Wasn't there another one there though?
That was a little spiker.
Well, we gotta have them too.
Yep.
All the different age classes. Hey, it's so nice to have the
Ooh,
yearlings.
there's a good one. Full 5
See if it goes
on both sides.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah, he's not even.
I was just gonna say, he hasn't eaten a thing. He comes in right there, sniffs the hay, lifts his head, and looks around. See him lip curl there.
Yeah.
He's not like the bucks are not eating at the bait there at all.
No, just looking for the does.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, there's that heavy one. 5x5. Dark antlers.
Yeah. And again, doesn't eat a thing.
Nope. Just in looking for does.
Yeah, that's nice.
Almost black antlers, hey? That's cool.
They're super dark. Yeah, pretty. I mean, good browse.
Yep.
Ah, what a beautiful animal.
Mm-hmm.
What side is this?
This is the next one. This is roadside. We're going on that southern trail.
Roadside, which is actually a long ways off the road.
The furthest one off the road.
Oh, they all need to have a name, though. Wow, there's a lot of does, eh?
Pretty bluebird.
Blue jay.
That too.
Oh, they're looking good.
Little buck. Ooh.
There's a family of coons.
Yeah, family of coons.
Mama and 3 young.
Looks like it, yep. Your big mama out front. Ooh.
There's a good one.
Yeah, you can see him coming in the back there looking after those does.
Oh yeah, look at them peeking in.
Yep.
Oh,
Getting their scent. That's a good one.
that is a nice mature.
Only 4x4, but strong on the brows, strong in the second tines. Geez, he's really strong on that side.
Good mass.
Yep.
Big body, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good. There he comes again.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they look good. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Hey, look at that.
Something's weird with that one.
Look at that. It looks like it's...
Oh, look at his
look
beams.
at it.
Like,
His tips just crank in. Look at
wow.
that.
It's like it
is-
doubles back on itself and almost makes a full circle.
That is so cool. Wow. My
So we get a
goodness, look at that.
front
he's
on
a
view of
5
him?
by 5. Oh, there. 5 by 5. Oh, those aren't his beam tips cranking, are they? Are those his G4s?
No, I think it's his beam tips.
He's got G4s too, though. Like he has a 5.
He is a 5, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Love it. Well, that's that buck called Squash. Could look like he ran into something and squashed his front end, eh? Not an old buck.
No,
He's just
another year or two, though, and he's going to be really impressive.
genetically, he's great. That's why we pass them up young, and yeah, even the big young ones need to be passed up, eh?
Yep.
That is neat.
Pass them young and big and grow them old and really big.
Yep.
Little buck. Oh, he's
mature.
got some age on him.
Coexisting.
Yeah. Little buck's just laying behind him. Oh,
No,
they're starting to square off. Yeah. Oh yeah. And they're friends for now. Nope, that didn't last long.
Oh, look at that.
Oh wow.
Oh, look at it. The little guy. He must be just being put up with, because
Yeah, that big
that's no
one.
contest.
No.
That big guy, he's just putting up with an annoying youngster. Teenager and wanting to prove himself. Man, that's funny, eh? Like they must be...
Got a new hairdo.
Must be 3 years different from age, eh? 2 or
Yeah.
3.
Oh, he's figured he'll wait for the does to come to him.
Tuckered out the old Zella.
Oh, there's a buck. Oh, nice young one.
He's got an odd time there, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Just a healthy 2-year-old, eh?
Yep. I mean, it's still just a 5. Kind of a strange angle on it, but
4 on the other.
yeah.
Just a young one.
Hmm.
Oh,
That's not a deer.
I saw it behind a stump there. There's an elk, just a lone one, eh?
Yeah, lone cow. Yeah, stayed there for quite a while.
Isn't that odd though, all by herself? Just needed a little extra grub in her belly. Oh, just a sec, go back. Go back some more. That is a... Oh yeah, that's just a cow. I was going to say, that's not a run-down bull. Oh.
The buck.
what
And
was
a
that?
cow. And a buck. And a bull.
Oh, nice. 5 point?
Yep.
Oh, he's got 6 on that one side. His left, just a little, right at the tip.
Oh
of it,
yeah.
eh?
Yep.
Yeah, there.
Oh, there he's got a 6.
Yeah, and almost a 6 on this side.
Yep.
So their ruts over there, they need to replenish their system before winter really kills them. Well, I suppose we can spare some feed, hey?
I guess so. Not much we can do about it anyway. Well, just deleting the last ones. That looks like it's about it. The big bucks are moving. Praise the Lord. The weather's cleared up and they're back on schedule. So that's good news for our hunters. I guess we will see you next time. Remember to like, subscribe, and share for more of this content, and please leave comments down there. We love hearing from you guys. See you next time.